So welcome back to the vlog. Me and Greta here. We're heading down to Calgary. We're gonna do, two things. Number one, we're picking up a new car, or essentially a summer toy, which Greta is gonna get to enjoy primarily. And as well, we're doing some other shopping down there, so you're definitely gonna wanna check it out. Excited or what? And so here we are with Greta's new toy car. Check it out. Greta's always loved the Boxster, and here we are. We thought, you know what? Let's treat her to a new toy. Obviously with summer here, now we've got a car that we can actually enjoy, ragtop. There's been a bunch of things that we have to talk about. A little bit of a project car in the sense of very, very clean foundation, but there's a few things that we're gonna have to deal with along the way. And we might as well just start the vlog right here. There's clearly some little nuances and things, some of which we had to fix already before buying the car. But there it is, the Porsche Boxster. Let's go for a drive. Now that we've got the Porsche Boxster, you're loving the car, right? Yeah, so Greta obviously loves the Boxster, and I do too. I mean, these cars are from an era where, you know, they're good, honest sports cars, naturally aspirated. You can get a manual gearbox, and that's why we wanted this, a little convertible that was cheap to run, fun to drive, throw the roof down on a sunny day, pull gears as you want. It's just a true, honest sports car, simple by design. What do you think? Yeah, absolutely great cars. And you know what, today's day and age, cars are getting so complex. You can't work on anything yourself. And clearly, I mean, cars are so powerful now, but you know, it's just not the same anymore. You know, 500, 600 horsepower is incredible in a straight line, but you become a little disconnected from the driving experience with a lot of these cars nowadays, with electric steering, electric brakes, you know, turbocharging, but they're all muted and quiet. You can't even hear the engines. They're great, don't get me wrong, but there is a bit of disconnect, and that's where the Boxster should hopefully fill that for us. And while this isn't the latest and greatest, what we're talking about here is a 2.7 liter, flat six, 5-speed manual, literally a great car to drive, cheap to run, actually really good on fuel. You know, 200 horsepower isn't really all that exciting. However, it's just fun enough. It's spirited, it's fun, and it sounds great too. It's that flat six, sounds wonderful. So anyway, that's why we bought this. And truly, for anybody looking for just a good, honest performance car, just to boot around on and have a little bit of fun, maybe take down to a local autocross once in a while, can't go wrong with a Boxster. You're not going to set time trial records, but you can truly have a lot of fun with these. And they won't break the bank. You don't need to take a third mortgage out to afford a Porsche Boxster. With that said, let's just head down. We're going to go down to the Ferrari dealership, and part of the reason we're doing that now is, you know, I've been looking at the Lamborghinis lately, and you know, the V12s are on their way out. I mean, the Aventador is clearly a beast. Literally one of my favorites. So is a Murcielago. So's a Diablo, Countach. All those V12 Lamborghinis are just exceptional cars, and I love them all dearly. I would say probably a gated Mercy is literally my favorite car ever. And then of course you go into the Aventadors, then the Diablos, and Diablos get very expensive to fix. So they're become more of a museum piece and something you bring out on a Sunday morning for a short drive around the block, you know, show off to your neighbors, and then park it again. It's not the most reliable, but they're wonderful anyway, regardless. So any V12 Lambos are great. However, with that said, like even the Aventador now with the single clutch, automated manual, ISR transmission is what they call these in the Aventador. They're still not much disconnected from an E-gear, which is a single automated manual. You know, 15-20,000 kilometers if they're driven hard. That's all you're going to get out of a clutch. And you know what? I don't know. They seem very limited in a lot of ways. That's where a gated Mercy would almost be the better car to go with if you can find one. But with that said, then we talk about the Huracans, and the Huracans are wonderful cars. Gearboxes are lightning fast. They look the profile. I mean, with that cab 4 design on the Huracans, the fast shifts, and of course the exhaust note on a Huracan is probably some of the best sounding cars on the planet. But I can't help but think why I'm not necessarily going with the Huracan is the fact that the car's moving on to 9 to 10 years of age. You know, they transitioned from 2014, well, 2015 was really technically the first year in production. And now we're moving into 2023. We're at 8 years. They've got about another year or so, and then they're moving on out. And the latest Huracan is the Technica, which is essentially a rear-wheel drive softened up STO, which in itself is a masterpiece and a mastermind of a car. And don't get me wrong, we're splitting hairs here, but I can't help but think, even at 640 horsepower, they're starting to fall behind a little bit. And I've got to believe that the next generation of Huracan is going to be a little different. They're probably going to be electrified partially, probably a bit of a hybrid. Some say maybe twin turbo V8. Whatever it is, it'll be incredible, I'm sure. But the reality is we're still a good couple of years away from that. And as far as that goes, comparing them to what Ferrari's putting down now, compared it to what even McLaren's putting down, it feels like Lamborghini's a little bit kind of trailing behind in terms of outright performance. Not that they're really, they're not suffering. It's 600 plus horse depending on the version you're buying. They're incredible cars. I've driven them, they're wonderful. But, the McLaren's 720S, 710 horsepower, thereabouts. I think they're a little sandbagged. They're a lot faster than I think their numbers represent. And then what is Ferrari? Well, did you hear? Okay, so Ferrari has the F8 Tributo and the F8 Spider. Now, what those are is a remake of what they had the 488 Pista, and essentially is a high-strung 3.9 liter V8 that's twin turbo that makes over 700 ponies. So they took the Pista engine from the 488, now they shoehorn that into the F8 as a tribute, a final tribute on the adios and the way out with the V8. Now Ferrari's changing their whole philosophy. Their mid-engine V8 cars are historical and they're legendary, but they're moving on, and it looks like it's time. But they're replacing them with a 296 GTB, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard about that. But it's a whole new relook. It's a different design element, but they're also adding hybrid motivation to a twin turbo V6 that normally makes about 650 horse, and then they're adding an electric drive to that as well across the gearbox. And total output of this new 296 is said to be in that 819 horsepower range. That is absolutely remarkable, incredible. And Ferrari's stating that this 296 is now less serious, more fun, but certainly way more capable, and certainly a lot more capable than even some of the competitors are putting down these days. So it's absolutely wonderful, this 296. I'm gonna go have a look. We're gonna go talk to the salespeople, but before we do that, let's have a good look around the Ferrari dealership and see what they've got in the showroom there, and maybe it'll help motivate a person to sort of switch brands. And again, you can't go wrong with any of them. You've got the top players, McLaren 720, the F8 Tributo, which is on the way out. You can't really buy them. You can buy them slightly used now. And Porsche has the 911 Turbo S or the GT2 RS, which is kind of previous. So every brand has something that they're throwing down. But let's go see what Ferrari's got. Let's take a look in the showroom. Well, we got home in one piece, and it was a great drive. The Boxster was flawless. A little noisier in the cabin. I suspect it has to do with the fact that there's very little sound deadening with the convertible roof, but it got home flawlessly, perfectly. It actually is relatively good on gas, so it was a lot of fun to rip around, hit a few on-ramps to the turns, and it actually is a fun little car. But I have to add, while we were at the Ferrari dealer, we actually dropped a deposit on a new car. And with that said, everyone, thanks for joining in today again. Great to see each and every one of you guys. If you're a current subscriber, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. If you're not, you're definitely going to want to join in, because remember, it's all about the lifestyle, and life's too short to drive boring cars. Hope to see you guys all real soon. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.